This is part 3. You're gonna have to go find part 1 or part 2 if you're just seeing this video, the testimony of how God cured my Lyme disease and 18 other running medical conditions. So I honestly need a new phone, more storage, and I've still got a lot to learn in the tech game. So especially them being called to be in the space. So, gotta figure it out. But anyways, this has honestly been a testimony on my heart that God has called me to for quite some time. But right now is the perfect timing because of how much has unfolded. And had I done it, it had probably been a little more premature. And so long story short, God opened up a Moses Red Sea moment for me. And out of impossible circumstances, made a way where there was no way. I got everything packed up very quickly in Vegas. That friend that God had reconnected me with used her as an instrument to set line and sinker everything to save me from being evicted, to buy me some time with that. My storage was paid, my phone bill was paid, she bought me groceries, literally got me boxes, got me movers, got a moving van. I literally packed everything up just in a matter of days, and was driving back with a moving van. That very van that I was like, God, if I'm gonna be homeless, just at least get me a moving van. And God's like, baby, I got bigger plans for you. I can't even describe to the feeling when I was in that moving truck, driving that moving truck with all of my things inside it, my dog sitting next to me, and just still trying to process what had just happened. Because I had fully accepted that I was possibly going to be homeless. And I was praying to God, if you could just get me a moving truck. And God's like, baby, I got so much more for you than that. And in that moment, that's all I could think about. I had hours of driving, and I'm just so determined, and I'm so happy, and I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. I knew I'd be cured. And there was just so much happening through my mind. I had so many hours of driving to just sit and think and be with myself and with God of what was just happening in my life and what God had just done, and not even knowing what God was about to do. That was just the beginning. And so I make it to Dallas, and I had about 30 days to prepare. There was a lot of preparation. And I didn't exactly have everything I needed to prepare properly, but I was doing my best. And it was very rushed, but I had to go. And, and even when I had done my virtual consultation, they're like, whoa, you need more time to, you should have already been preparing. I'm like, no one fucking told me that. And if you have any idea what I'm going through in my life, I just need to get there. And God's making a way. So I'm on God's timing right now, and God's timing is perfect. So, and as I'm sitting there in 30 plus days, me and this best friend, God and I reconnected with, I got all my things, got back to Dallas, put a lot of my stuff in storage. Ironically, she had 2 rooms open, which one I needed for office, and I've always been extra, office space, some extra stuff, and then my bedroom, and some other things, crazy divine intervention on her end, things that were being moved out of the way, I should say, that were gonna allow her and I to be reconnected. And basically, once I got there, she helped me book my flight, a full trip flight to get to Europe to go work with this doctor, some of the stuff I needed to prepare, because it was really intensive preparation for this type of fasting. This is a serious medical dry fast. And while I'm sitting there in these 30 days preparing, I was exhausted. It was honestly homework. I needed more help and support that I just didn't have, but I was doing my best. I was still having a few medical flare-ups, and when I was having them, I'm just hey, if it gets too bad, you might have to call an ambulance for me. And I'm going to tell you this, once I got there, even though she was helping me and God was using her as an instrument, it was not all rainbows. we had grown apart so much that who she was now and who I was and in the process of becoming, two totally different people cut from very different cloths, had went in very different directions, and were very much out of alignment. And I'm gonna just say that. There were very quickly a lot of very alarming, concerning behaviors. Even while she was helping me, it was not perfect, because behind the scenes, I'm gonna tell the truth. And Kaylin, you can be mad at me all you want, baby. Yes, you did so much to help me, but you also caused a lot of damage while I was already in a very delicate place, thinking you were the only friend. I had prayed for a friend, thought I got a friend. At the same time, you caused a lot more pain and anguish and emotional, mental pain that I will never forget. I forgive you. But what this woman did continuously behind the scenes was some her problems. She had turned into a drunk, a sloppy, mean drunk with a nasty spirit on her, where she would switch from Jackal and Hyde. And I'm sitting here like, what the fuck just happened? Like, I thought I was getting help. So I'm gonna tell you the truth, because it was not all motherfucking rainbows and unicorns with her. And I know that she was doing her best to help me. And I am so appreciative, but they both existed together, and then tried using it against me. Like, well, I helped you. But that's not an excuse to disrespect me, to mistreat me, to be how volatile and disgusting she ended up being to me behind the scenes. And that's a story for a whole nother time. This woman, like, mentally, emotionally unhinged, underdeveloped, immature, mean, nasty. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got my friend back. I'm gonna, she's helping me. Like, I'm thinking, and everything was set, line, and sinker. Yes, she helped me. She helped me do all that. God used her as an instrument, but there is also a lot that I'm just gonna say it was not all rainbows, unicorns, and sunshine with her. And nights that I was sitting in bed crying while already being in a confusing place in my life, being vulnerable at the mercy of someone else. Have you ever been in that position? Do you know how fucking vulnerable that is? You can't go anywhere. You still medical I'm literally in the in-between that Moses, when I talk about Moses and the Israelites, that was their initiation in the promised land. I was being initiated into my promised land. But that doesn't mean it was perfect on the in-between. And even though God is providing where God provides where, I can't even, where God guides, God provides, And even though that was happening, it was not all sunshine and rainbows with her being reconnected with this friend. We hadn't spoken 7 or 8 years. And, but anyways, everything is already taken care of for my trip. My flight is booked. I've got what I need for now to prepare for this fast, to get out there. And I got like 30 days. I'm just like kind of sitting there. I'm not working. I'm cooped up in the house. I'm processing everything. I'm trying to prepare, like kind of on my own again. She's doing her own thing. I'm doing my own thing, and still just weird shit with. Once I saw that, it was so alarming, because you have to understand, I had grown so much and I'd been through so much. I needed a safe space. I needed healing. I couldn't handle chaotic, turbulent, mentally, emotionally unhinged, unregulated people, because that's not who I am, even while I was going through this. And I needed a safe space while going, and I needed as much support as possible. And she did some really nasty things to me on the in-between. I mean, this was like, I think right after I got back. I don't know what. And then she'd act like nothing happened. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this girl? Literally, I was having a really bad episode outside on the stairs, outside trying to breathe. I thought I was going to go into cardiac arrest, and I called her. She was like smug and being weird. And she's like, what? Like basically, like, are you dying? Do you need an ambulance? She literally starts screaming and yelling, I don't fucking care. I don't want to take care of a fucking sick person. Well, I'm in the middle of an episode, not knowing if I need an ambulance or not, I'm literally sitting there with my head and like, Kaylin, like, please, literally, this bitch did this to me on her front porch of her house, leaving me there, telling me, screaming and yelling at me, I don't fucking care. I don't want to take care of a sick person, and slams the door on me. And I'm like, I'm literally sitting here trying to ground in the middle of a medical emergency, not knowing if I'm about to die or not, if I need an ambulance. And this woman was totally sober at the time. That's just a small glimpse, and I'm going to keep it simple like that. But this is now what I was up against, being in her home, because she had helped me. Now using it against me. I was not expecting that. So that became a new terrain that I had to navigate. And I'm like, God, I don't understand. What? Like, what just happened? You have to understand how confused I was. And how many nights I actually sat there like crying, like, what the fuck just happened? Now I feel like I'm in the devil's home. Seriously. And so I'm sitting there in the between, and most importantly, I absolutely made my way out to Europe, to Montenegro, to go work with this Russian dry fast doctor, Dr. Filanov. And I get there, like, I think it was like a 16 hour plane ride-ish, 18 hours maybe. So I leave Dallas, Texas. I go all the way to Europe, to Montenegro. And when I get there, I brought the book with me by Michelle B. Slatter called Starving to Heal in Siberia. I brought it with me, and I was taking pictures the whole trip because I already had a vision, I think, what God was calling me to do with that. And when I touch, like, my feet hit the ground out of the cab, everything I just read in her book, like, just made sense to me. And I, like, hugged the lady, Daniela. Oh, she was a sweetheart. I loved her. She was amazing. And I just got there and I, like, cried. I'm like, I don't even know how I'm here right now. Like, you don't understand what I've been through. I'm here. And I put my stuff in my room and I go where it's a little tiny boutique hotel in Montenegro in Europe. And just, we're on this little, like, kind of coastline by itself, like right at the ocean. And I go put my feet in the stand, and I'm just looking at the ocean in front of me and the hotel behind me. I'm there with Dr. Filanov, and I'm looking at the book that I'm holding, Starving to Heal in Siberia. And I'm like, I literally just start break down crying. I'm looking at my feet on the ground in the sand, and I'm like, I'm here. I'm here. God answered my prayers, made a way out of no way. I'm here. That's Dr. Filanov right there. What? So I go into this dry fast. It was the most unique experience I've ever been. I felt like I was fighting demons. It was psychological, mental, emotional, physical. And when I tell you, I don't know which was harder, the dry fast or the suffering, or even exiting the dry fast. But a few days, 7, 9, 11 days of this dry fast is nothing compared to the years I've been suffering, or the years I'm gonna stay suffering if I don't go through this tiny time frame of window just to disintegrate disease with this dry fast. However, I started my period during this dry fast, and I've always had really painful periods since a young girl. And that completely just tipped me over. And I'll tell you, that dry fast was not all rainbows. It was not easy for me. It was still probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I did not get to fully complete my dry fast. I had to, what they call exiting. I had to exit early on day 6. And I felt kind of disappointed. And, you know, because at that moment, you're still in identity. Your identity hasn't, you don't even realize like what, there's been so much happening, and it was also so rushed, like getting there, getting the treatment, scraping pennies, you know, like all this stuff, you know, happening. And I didn't have enough time to properly prepare. I'd never been through this before. Everything was totally new, and they do a lot of like treatment type stuff. When you get there, they want you walking like 6 miles a day. It sounds crazy, but there's a reason. Everything they have you doing is for a reason. They're doing a lot of body work. I was getting saline injections up and down my spine. They were using like medical grade leeches on my liver to cleanse the liver. They're using the Russians, you know, they're gonna spit on you and beat you up with a bottle of vodka. Like they believe that like beating up the body heals it in a way. It's kind of making a joke, but I'm kind of serious. Russians, you know, and but basically they're doing these really like hard cupping techniques and massages daily on the body it's for lymph and detox and keeping circulation. That's why they want you walking. And let me tell you, this was not like this wasn't some like walk in the park. Like I'm saved. No, you still have to go through it. And I had to exit early, but it was a very interesting experience. It was psychological, mental, emotional. I was having so many different purges from every human aspect of my identity, physically, mentally, emotionally. Like I can't even explain it. And basically came out of it. I personally really thought I messed my body up when I was exiting the fast. I cannot even describe what I was feeling, even days after exiting the fast. And they kept reminding me, you didn't mess anything up. And I didn't tell anyone this. I was like grounding in it, like, shit, did I mess my body up? Did I do like, I just something to have to go through. And long story short, I'm like now having to rush back home. That flight back home, not fun. What I was feeling in my body, and we hit a patch of turbulence, I had to grab the stranger's hand next to me and I would explain, hey, I just went through a dry fast. It's like coming off of like a full body internal surgery table and I'm rushing back home, which you don't do, but I had to do what I had to do. And I didn't know that it worked yet. And they made it very clear that especially over the next 2 months, your body is healing and recalibrating. It's going to be normal to have flare-ups. It's going to be normal to have, because your body is like, you just went through a massive detox, cleanse, and purge, and your body is recalibrating everything. It's like disintegrating disease and cleaning everything up and recalibrating. They made this very clear. The next 2 months, especially the next 2 months, but even over the next 6 months. And long story short, even though I didn't get to fully exit, each month you can literally watch the progression in my YouTube videos. My vitality, my energy, my glow. I'm not making this up. That is why I did my best to document this. That's why I started this YouTube channel, was to show the right before the dry fast, right after, and now months later. I've just gotten healthier. My energy is back, my vitality. I'm virtually symptom free. And I'm actually getting ready to go back to Europe again to work with Dr. Filanov. And this one, it's going to be much more controlled. I still do a lot of fasting in my own time. I do, in 1 month, there's 4 weeks. I do a 36-hour fast 3 weeks out of the month with sauna and binders. And then I do a 3-day dry fast once a month. And and God has already set this trip up for Europe. That is more of my testimony. I moved into beautiful, brand new, my dream townhome, and God is calling me into this full time. And basically since that dry fast, it took time for me to realize like, hey, like I'm not sick anymore. I'm not having flare-ups anymore. I'm not having symptoms anymore. I can eat this food. I wanted to also mention at one point in my medical crisis, I was so sick, I'd become carbohydrate intolerant. The only thing my body wasn't severely and appropriately responding to was meat. I went strict carnivore for almost 2 years because I didn't have a choice. My body was inappropriately responding to healthy whole foods it shouldn't have been. It's so many gut issues. And I'm not able to eat foods that would have sent me to the hospital. I'm like, my sense of humor is back. My personality is back. The symptoms are gone. Like it's been like a progression. If you go watch my very first YouTube video to this one right now, you're going to see it with your own eyes. And I did my best to record what I could because God had called me to do that. Even though I wanted to do it more thoroughly, because I when I do things, I do it with my whole heart and soul. I've never been a half-ass type of person. I don't half-ass anything I do in my life at all. And that's just always the person I've been. But so long story short, it was a success. I am going back to really make sure that I've fully went through these 7, 9, 11 day dry fasts to fully disintegrate the remainder out. Now I've seen people go through one big long dry fast and that's all they need. In my case, I needed multiple rounds. And even when I got back from Europe, they said, wait 2 months, you do another big dry fast if you feel like you'd need it. And I did it. However, I was having some difficulties with this type of fasting. But now, God has already set line and sinker. This has all been a setup for a testimony. So even this testimony is not finished. God is still writing my testimony, but I'm sharing what's transpired so far. And God has already set up my next trip to Europe to go this time. I've learned from the first experience. It will not be rushed. And then here in the next 30 days or so, I'm actually going to start preparing again to make sure it was a lot at once, very rushed. Now that I've been through it, I'm more experienced. I know what to expect, how to prepare, so I can go have a full, successful dry fast experience. And this is going to annually be something that I incorporate into my life for the rest of my life. And also in my own daily life, because of how much this helped me get my life back. It's something everyone should be doing. Even maybe you do or don't believe in Jesus, but even Jesus said, not if, but when you fast. It is a necessity. It's a necessity for every person walking the planet. There's no one who shouldn't be fasting. It's literally what God has shown and revealed to me was through faith, my own faith, mind-body connection, power of the mind. And in this fasting, this is how God designed the body to heal any and every disease, through faith and fasting. It literally, Jesus went and fasted for 40 days. We hear about this and it sounds like some crazy thing to us. I've had people get mad when I share this, like, oh my God, that's dangerous. You're gonna die if you don't eat or drink anything for 3 days. No, I healed. The complete opposite. And if that was true, then I'd be dead. So that's a false claim. It's completely inaccurate. And the medical system has it all wrong. They're going to sell you endless detox. They're going to sell you endless protocols, endless, supplements, just managing devastating symptoms the rest of your life. And I said, that can't be me. There's got to be another way. And I obsessed to find a cure, and I found it. And it was through dry fasting, and God made a way. And God answered my prayers, and now I'm keeping my promise to God to share with the world, to scream at the rooftops, while everyone, especially in the Lyme disease community, there's even big advocates, there's big funding, but yet all that funding, you still can't find a cure. And little old me is like, hello, can anyone hear me? Hello, I'm echoing into the ethers. Can anyone hear me? I found the cure. We're getting back to our roots and the truth that the devil's a lie. There's nothing incurable. You don't need endless detoxes. There's not a more powerful detox on the planet than fasting. The way God instilled in our body there's no more powerful detox outside of you than fasting. You don't need a million supplements for the rest of your life, or medications, or all the endless, where you're going to end up spending hundreds and thousands of dollars going in circles looking like a damn cartoon character just to end up at square one, dead ends. And it still didn't work or cure you. And I was just like, I don't want that to be me. I want to be cured so I can get to my life. Let me show you my vision board here, huh? You see that right there? Yeah, you fucking see that, don't you? Yeah, you see that shit. Yes, I'm talking shit. That's my vision board. And there was no way that I saw a future when the world said it was incurable. There's no way. I never visualized myself as someone who would be stuck, suffering, bedridden, limited the rest of my life. I said, fuck no. And I obsessed to find a cure, and I'm here to share with people. It was through dry fasting. This dry fasting completely cured me and gave me my life back. Everyone should be doing it. And I'm now asking God, okay, you're calling me into this. I'm not called to be functional medicine. Like, the fasting is what worked. Will Dr. Filanov work with me? Will he teach me? Can I be like, what's it called? An intern or whatever, like take me under your wing, teach me. Can I bring this back? I don't need credit. I give that to Michelle, to God, to Dr. Filanov, but let me live out your legacy. It's so needed here in America. What's the legal, stature? Can I do this here in America? Is it like, I've got all these thoughts now, like, what now, God? Like, what's next? I know that this is what God is preparing me for, because this is what worked, and it's so needed right now, especially the timing is